It is 8:32. I will call the May 1st, 2024 meeting of the Environment and Land Use Committee to order. Roll call of committee members. We have at least one new committee member. We'll start over here, just do introduction.
Tony Munson, Representative Towns Association.
Dave Larson, representing District 15.
Stacy Klein, Board Supervisor, District 2.
Randy Severson, representing livestock producers.
Kellen Nelson, District 14 Supervisor.
Becky Gluen, County Administrator.
Morning, Susan Fisher, Corporation Counsel.
Andy Todd, District 5 Supervisor.
Kevin Whalen, District 9 Supervisor.
Burge Gamera, Department of Land Management.
Haley Passo, Department of Land Management.
Mark Carlson, Department of Land Management.
Okay. Thank you all, and welcome, Kevin. Certify that the open meeting law requirements have been met with proper posting. We have a 15-item agenda. I would entertain a motion. Mm-hmm. It's a court counsel question.
That's a really good question. I'm looking at the order of it. The way that it is at this moment, we still have that issue of trying to amend the proposed agenda to do it. And so I think I would, at this moment, recommend the adoption of the agenda so we could still get to it. Because I think we're gonna have something out of order no matter what.
Okay.
Good question, though.
Okay, fair enough.
I'll make the motion to adopt the agenda.
Okay, motion by Todd,
Second.
second by Dave. Okay. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Next item is the election of officers. So, at this point, I will open nominations for chair.
I'd like to nominate Kellen as the chair.
Okay, do we have any other nominations? Are there any other nominations? No other nominations?
Make a motion nominations be closed and declare unanimous ballot.
Okay, motion been made,
Second.
second by Munson. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. At that point, then we will open nominations for vice chair. Do we have any nominations for vice chair?
I'll make the nomination for Mr. Larson as vice chair.
And we don't need a second.
I don't believe we need seconds. You're good? Second, yeah. Okay, are there any other nominations? Are there any other nominations?
Well, I
I don't
will.
know if we need to, but Randy. So, hearing none, I'll close the nominations. Well, someone want to cast?
I'll make a
unanimous?
motion to close nominations, cast unanimous ballot for Mr. Larson as vice chair.
Okay, we have a motion made, do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Klein. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. I'll open up nominations for our secretary position. Do we have any nominations for a secretary?
Nominate Randy Severson.
Are there any other nominations? Are there any other nominations? Is there any other nominations?
Make a motion to close nominations, cast unanimous ballot for Randy Severson as secretary.
Okay,
Second.
motion Munson, second Klein. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Next item, we have adopt our minutes from April 3rd regular meeting. Has everyone had a chance to read through them? Any questions, corrections, additions?
Didn't see any. Motion to approve.
Okay,
Second.
okay, motion made and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. So at this point in time, at 8:37, I will call the public hearing to order for land use change rezone from EA to rural residential Colin. Randy, would you please read the hearing notice?
There will be a public hearing before the Trempealeau County Environment and Land Use Committee on Wednesday, May 1st, 2024, at 8:35 a.m. in the county boardroom of the courthouse, 18600 Hobson Street, Whitehall, Wisconsin. The purpose is a land use change, rezone from transitional agriculture to commercial on approximately 0.117 acres more or less for the Oh, it's,
This one, maybe.
oh. Okay, that's wrong.
Yeah.
Oh, I numbered them wrong. Okay, sorry.
Nope, that's
No.
tonometric. It's this, maybe that one.
That's the one I was reading. Is there three?
Yeah.
Oh, there's three, okay. Sorry. Where am I now? Here, is this the right one?
It should be Tono Hill. Yes, that's
Okay,
the one. There
sorry.
you go. No, you
I
got
have it, I just. There will be a public hearing before the Trumpealeau County Environment and Land Use Committee on Wednesday, May 1st, 2024, at 8:30 a.m. in the county boardroom of the courthouse, 18600 Hobson Street, Whitehall, Wisconsin. The purpose is a land use change rezone from exclusive agriculture to rural residential on approximately 5 acres more or less for the purpose of creating a residential lot for future sale. The location is the southwest one quarter of the northwest one quarter of Section 21, Township 23 North, Range 8 West, Town of Hale, Trumpealeau County, Wisconsin. Parcel number as follows. Upon request, a map of the property may be obtained from the Department of Land Management. The hearing is requested by Colin Dubiel, petitioner landowner. Trumpealeau County invites you to join this meeting as follows. To provide public comment on these hearings, please call 715-538-1894. Your attendance and comments are encouraged at this hearing. If you are unable to attend and have any questions, please call Verge Gamroth with the Department of Land Management at 715-538-1916 or email at verge.gamroth@county.trempealeau.wisconsin.us. If you are unable to attend and desire to submit a written comment, please send your written comments to the Department of Land Management, P.O. Box 67, Whitehall, Wisconsin, 54773, or email to Verge once again. All emails and written comments must be received by April 30th, 2024 at 4:30 p.m. Please know that written comments will be read at the public hearing up to 250 words. All written comments must include the name and address of its author and the request that the letter be read at a particular meeting date. Any special interest groups or expert witnesses will be allowed 20 minutes to give a presentation and must register at least 1 week prior to the meeting date by calling Verge Gamroth at the Department of Land Management at 715-538-1916. Sincerely, Verge Gamroth, zoning technician.
Thank you, Randy. Verge, do you have some notes you can share with
Sure.
us?
I apologize for interrupting Randy
No,
so
that's
abruptly,
okay.
but sometimes I
Yeah.
forget I'm in
I
a
would have kept
public
going.
meeting. I'd like to acknowledge Colin Dubiel's son Kyle, who is here representing Colin today. As was mentioned in the notice, the rezone is for approximately 5 acres from exclusive ag to rural residential to separate off a lot for purchase later in the future. The rezone was published in the paper April 10th and April 17th in the Trempealeau County Times. The rezone was filed with the county clerk. The town clerk was notified via email. The district county board supervisor was notified, which happens to be Kellen. And as a courtesy, we notify the adjoining landowners. And I did have one of them that stopped in, and I'll go through that when we ask for testimony in favor. I have a letter from the town of Hale, and even though the land is zoned exclusive ag, I could find no evidence that, to indicate that this particular parcel was ever in farmland preservation. And because the land was zoned exclusive ag, it was not included in the large rezone that we just did with the town of Hale, because that went from residential 8 to rural residential. So obviously, this was exclusive ag, so it wasn't included in that. The comprehensive plan states exclusive ag, but again, this would be in line with the large rezone that we did to rural residential in the town of Hale. And if approved, this rezone would go to full county board on May 20th for final approval. That's what I have.
Okay, thank you, Verge. If there's anyone who wishes to comment on this, in attendance, now is your time. Kyle, do you have anything you want to offer? It's pretty well spelled out.
Yeah, I've got
Okay, thank you. Verge, could you, no one's registered to testify as far as I can tell?
No, but like I said, I do have a letter from the town, and I also had a gentleman that stopped in.
Okay,
So whenever you want to give.
yeah, if you'd want to read those now, that would be fine.
Okay. I did have one neighbor, Adolph Toma, who stopped in on Monday, April 27th, and he just wanted to know exactly where the parcel was located. And when I did show him that on the map, he said he was okay with the rezone. And then I have a letter from the town of Hale, and I think that was in all your meeting packets. It's dated March 12th, 2024, addressed to the Trempealeau County Environment and Land Use Committee. On March 12, 2024, the Town of Hale Board met to discuss the rezoning of approximately 5 acres of the Colin Dubiel/Kyle Dubiel property from exclusive ag to rural residential. The property is being gifted by Colin Dubiel to his son Kyle so that he can build a house on the land. Part of the 5-acre parcel appears to be in rural residential already, but the other portion is in exclusive ag. The purpose of the rezone would be to make the entire parcel into rural residential so that there would be no question about the zoning issue. The parcel is located along County Road D, approximately 8 miles south of Strum, and is close to the intersection of County Road D and Loga Road. A notice of the rezone request was posted on the March 12th meeting agenda, and there was no public opposition to the rezone request. And after a brief discussion, the board had no problems with the rezone request, and David Lingen made a motion to recommend to the County Environment and Land Use Committee their approval of the zoning change. This motion was seconded by Greg Fonstead, and it was passed unanimously by the board. This letter of approval for the rezone of approximately 5 acres from exclusive ag to rural residential is being authorized by the Town of Hale Board and is being presented to the Trempealeau County Environment and Land Use Committee by Donald A. Halverson, Town of Hale Clerk.
Thank you, Verge. If anyone here wishes to make any comments on it, this is your opportunity.
Mr. Chair, I'm not sure if this is the time I should ask this question or wait till we're in our
Maybe
own
we close the
discussions.
public hearing.
It's
and
on the
then
technicalities of it?
We'll close the public hearing and then do
Yeah,
it.
thank you.
Does anyone last chance to offer any comments? At this time, I will close the public hearing at 8:45 and entertain the motion from the committee for discussion.
Motion to go to discussion
Second.
and approve, and
Approve.
potentially approve. Yeah.
Okay. Okay, second, okay. Well, we'll move to discussion at that point.
Okay, I don't know where to start. The original from the town says 5 acres more or less, some of it in rural residential already. The original request says 3 to 3.5. The certified survey map says 4.03. And the resolution has a different number.
No, it should have 5 acres.
Where was it? There.
5 acres more or less.
Marks the land town of Hale for the purpose, and that has no designation of a number. It just seems to me there's a little confusion in how that's all written.
The resolution has no number? I have a resolution with a number.
Yeah, this says 5 acres more or less.
Where am I missing it?
Hold
Okay.
on, it'll catch up, it'll catch up. There, right there.
5 acres more or less, or more or less.
That's
I
that
mean,
is the actual resolution.
So
we'll be
how
approving.
accurate do we need to be with these numbers, and should they coordinate more, or is it not a problem?
Probably a Susan question?
I think as long as the resolution is accurate, because that's what you're voting on, that's what will affect the change. I think we're okay,
But
but
we're
we need to have.
rezoning a smaller parcel than the 5 acres. The 5-acre lot being created, already some is in rural residential.
Right, and that's why it says 5 acres more or less. And it also says on the second page of the resolution to be further determined by certified survey map. So that references this map, the certified map. And that would break down to 4.03 acres.
Okay. So if somebody really wanted to find out, they would have to research into the survey map and everything else.
Correct.
Okay,
Any other questions, comments, from the committee?
By the way, Dave, I was expecting that question.
Since there's an existing trailer house or residence there now, and you plan to build, will that sanitary system accommodate, or will that be abandoned and then redo a whole new one? Have it inspected, and then you'll move forward from there? Okay.
Sounds good. Any other questions? Comments? Okay,
I'll make the motion to approve this zoning request.
I'll second that.
okay. I think we already have active motion over here for the same thing, so, at this point, then I'll call the vote on it. All in favor of approving this rezone, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. That will move on to full county board on the 20th, is that right? Yeah. So that'll be your final approval. All right, thanks, guys. Okay, now at let's see, it's 8:49. I will call a public hearing to order for land use change rezone from TA to commercial for lean auto sales. Randy, would you read the hearing notice?
There will be a public hearing before the Trumpealeau County Environment and Land Use Committee on Wednesday, May 1st, 2024 at 8:35 a.m. in the county boardroom of the courthouse, 18600 Hobson Street, Whitehall, Wisconsin. The purpose is a land use change rezone from transitional ag to commercial on approximately 0.117 acres, more or less, for the purpose of keeping the historic nature and appearance of the existing beach garage for an intended auto sales business. The location is part of the northwest 1/4 of the northeast 1/4 of Section 20, Township 20 North, Range 7 West, Town of Ettrick, Trumpealeau County, Wisconsin. Parcel number listed. Upon request, a map of the property may be obtained from the Department of Land Management. The hearing is requested by Lean Auto Sales LLC, landowner Kevin Lean, petitioner. Trumpealeau County invites you to join this meeting as follows. To provide public comment on these hearings, please call 715-538-1914. Your attendance and comments are encouraged at this hearing. If you're unable to attend and have any questions, please call Verge Gamroth with the Department of Land Management at 715-538-1916 or email at verge.gamroth@county.trempealeau.wisconsin.us. If you are unable to attend and desire to submit a written comment, please send your written comments to Department of Land Management, P.O. Box 67, Whitehall, Wisconsin 54773, or email once again to Verge. All emails and written comments must be received by April 30th, 2024 at 4:30 p.m. Please know that written comments will be read at the public hearings up to 250 words. All written comments must include the name and address of its author and the request that the letter be read at a particular meeting date. Any special interest groups or expert witnesses will be allowed 20 minutes to give a presentation and must register at least 1 week prior to the meeting date by calling Verge Gamroth of the Department of Land Management at 715-538-1916. Sincerely, Verge Gamroth, zoning technician.
Thank you, Randy. If anyone here wishes to offer comments, now is your chance. Verge, do you have some notes you can share?
I'd like to acknowledge Kevin Lean, who's present here today. As we mentioned in the notice, it is a rezone of 0.117 acres from transitional ag to commercial, to keep the nature of the historic beach garage and to have a future car sales business on the premises. The rezone was published in the paper April 10th and April 17th in the Trempealeau County Times. The rezone application was filed with the county clerk. The town clerk was notified via email. The district county board supervisor was notified, and as a courtesy, letters were sent to adjoining landowners. We did receive one letter from a neighbor, and I have a letter from the town of Ettrick. The comprehensive plan says R20, but this parcel is right next to another business located to the west that is zoned commercial. And if you're familiar with that little Beaches Corner burg down there to the south of us, it's kind of got a conglomeration of a lot of different things. And if approved, this rezone would go to full county board on May 20th for final approval.
Okay. Thank you. So once again, we call for public comment. if anyone wishes to offer any. Verge, I think you said you had a letter from a neighbor in the town.
Sure. This email was sent April 16th, actually to Mark, but it encompasses a couple of hearings. It says, "I am writing this letter supporting Kevin Leon's request for a conditional use permit for a duplex." And then in Beach's Corner, "I also support his request to rezone the garage to commercial property intended for an auto sales business. It's important to see the buildings being occupied and maintained. Sincerely, Luann Brynildson, Ettrick." And this letter may be read on May 1st, 2024 meeting.
Okay.
And then I have a letter from the town of Ettrick, "To whom it may concern," it was dated March 25th. "To whom it may concern, the town of Ettrick Board met on March 25th, 2024, and has no objection to the rezoning of property that is owned by Leon Auto Sales to rezone from transitional ag to commercial." John Varenkamp, Chairman.
Okay, thank you, Verge. Once again, I will call for public comment. Hearing no comments and seeing nobody here, I will close the public hearing at 8:54 and entertain a motion from the committee to approve for discussion.
Motion to approve.
Motion for approved with
I'll go ahead.
second by Todd. Questions, comments for Mr. Leon?
Just clarifying for me, we're talking about this whole lot one on the certified survey map that includes the concrete block, the canopy, et cetera. That's all lot one. Is that the correct reading of it? Yeah, that's correct. Okay, thank you.
Okay. Any other questions from the committee?
And then the intention is to keep that historic look of the building, but then it looks like you might add on the back side of it?
Eventually, the part farthest to the south of that building is kind of dilapidated, so we might refurbish that in the future, which I would do through permits. But right now, it's a two-bay building. It was a dealership at one time. We found the old dealership license plates in there from Selmer Linghammer, and it was a service garage at one time. And we're just trying to preserve that historic nature.
Yeah, it's a neat building.
Cool. Any other questions, comments? Hearing none. All in favor of approving the rezone, say aye.
Aye.
All right.
Opposed? Motion carried. Next then, at 8:55, I will call the public hearing to order for a conditional use permit for a duplex by Kevin Leon, landowner petitioner. Randy, would you please read the notice?
You are hereby given notice that the following conditional use permit will be before the Environment and Land Use Committee on Wednesday, May 1st, 2024, at 8:40 a.m. in the county boardroom of the courthouse, 18600 Hobson Street, Whitehall, Wisconsin. The hearing requested by Kevin Lean, landowner petitioner, Ettrick, Wisconsin, to consider a conditional use permit for a duplex located in the north one-half of the northeast one-quarter, Section 20, Township 20 North, Range 7 West, in the town of Ettrick, Trumbull County, Wisconsin, parcel number listed. To provide public comment on this hearing during the meeting, please call 715-538-1894. Your attendance and comments are encouraged at this hearing. If you are unable to attend and have any questions, please call Mark Carlson with the Department of Land Management at 715-538-1919 or email markcarlson@county.trempealeau.wisconsin.us. If you are unable to attend and desire to submit a written comment, please send your written comment to the Department of Land Management, 18600 Hobson Street, Whitehall, Wisconsin, 54773, or email, once again, to Mark Carlson. Please know that the written comments will be read at the public hearing up to 250 words. All written comments must include the name and address of its author and the request that the letter be read at a particular meeting date. Any special interest groups or expert witnesses will be allowed 20 minutes to give a presentation and must register at least 1 week prior to the meeting date by calling Mark Carlson of the Department of Land Management, 715-538-1919. Sincerely, Mark Carlson, Zoning and Sanitary Specialist.
Thank you, Randy. Is there anyone here to offer public comment on it? Now is your opportunity. Mark, do you have some notes you can share with us?
Yes, just like Verge's presentation on the rezone, I got the same comments from the same individuals I could read into the record, and no one else had called in. It was posted in the paper the required amount of time. There was apartment, or at least one apartment, possibly two in there in the past, but since it's been lapsed so long, I guess I felt it was necessary just to make it meet with the requirements today. And that's, a conditional use permit is required for what we would consider a duplex. And Kevin is here if he wants to add any comments, but I haven't heard anything from anybody as far as not wanting it there.
Okay, thank you. Once again, if anyone wishes to offer public comment, now is your opportunity. Do you have a letter from the town?
Yes, the letter from the town is stated on March 25th. The Town of Ettrick Board met on March 25th, 2024, and has no objection for Kevin Lean to get a conditional use permit for it to be a residential, quote, two-family. John Varenkamp, town chairperson.
Thank you, Mark. Once again, this is the opportunity to offer any public comments. And hearing none, I will close the public comment portion hearing at 8:59 and entertain a motion from the committee for discussion. Well, for approval, and then we'll discuss.
Motion to approve.
Motion by Larson,
I'll second. Stacy.
second by Klein. Okay, any discussion, questions for Kevin? Dave?
Just, I'm all in favor of more housing. We'll start with that. I'm just, is it because of the area it's in that it requires a conditional use, or does our whole zoning code require a conditional use for every duplex built?
We require a conditional use permit for every duplex, not just this one in particular.
Okay,
But they should have one, put it that way. I mean, they have been addressed, more recently. Some of the older, there's some out there that are old that may have not had it done, but anything new has to have a conditional use permit.
just for discussion purposes. My question is, why do we require that for a duplex?
It's in the ordinance, and I guess the requirement probably would be for any public comment to, probably for more people living in that dwelling and traffic and things like that. I guess, I don't know what the specific reason would have been why it was put in there, because it's been in there so long, but it is in our ordinance as a requirement.
Part B of the question, is this something that should be, when we're talking about possible changes, making it easier to build, is that something should be part of our discussion? Kevin? Oh, no, I'm not in charge.
A lot of that reason in code is for compliant septic systems as well, because you're adding more residents, more people, so I'm working with county staff to make sure we upgrade the septic as well.
To meet
So I think
needs.
that's why it's in there, Dave, to make sure that we're compliant, not overloading systems that are undersized.
Okay.
Okay? Good
That has to happen
But
regardless of what we
couldn't that
call
be
it,
addressed
so.
as part of the permitting process rather than having the conditional use? I'm just,
I don't see the need to change that part of our ordinance also. I mean, we've been seeming to want to change a lot of things on our ordinance lately just because it doesn't fit in, but, I mean, I don't think it's asking too much to require a conditional use permit for something, like say just for example, in like an R20 subdivision, some of the people with houses next door might have something to say about it. Some people don't want to live next to a duplex. But I mean, if they meet the requirements, we can't prevent it. I mean, some people have an opinion on everything, and that would be one of them. And we, some covenants in some of these subdivisions do not allow duplexes.
And Dave, in my district, I know that is a concern of multiple families inside a single dwelling home. And anything that we can do to maintain the integrity of the resident would be really upheld by our group, because we do have quite a few in our district that have multiple families living in a single residence.
So what's the definition between one and two family residence versus a duplex? Or the difference?
Duplex is generally,
Multiple.
is two separate, one and two family might be one and two families living in a single resident house, and a duplex would probably be unrelated people, it's like one lives in one half and one lives in the other, I guess that. I'm sure there's a definition in our ordinance for duplex, but I think it just states something similar to that, I guess.
Tony, I would guess there's probably something in the UDC code, like, of wall dividing or, something in the UDC code that would address that too.
You have to put double wall.
Yeah, they gotta have a firewall or a thicker wall, or more insulated for noise and all that stuff.
Okay. Any other questions from the committee? Seeing none, I will call the vote on the conditional use permit. All in favor of approving this conditional use, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. You have your permit. Thanks, Kevin. Next item is a zoning update from Mark.
Oh, I guess, the resolution that was, we passed on I think it would have been the March meeting, that's gonna be going to county board. That was for the camping cabin, definitions and requirements. And then, we have been discussing in-house the transfer density, and I think we've come to some sort of language agreement that I think all departments would agree on, that, it's possible that we'll bring it and that we would recommend it be approved based on the new language. I sent out like 2,100 septic notices last week, and I finally did get a UDC contract as of yesterday. I mean, I gave him till April 30th, and he sent it at 5:10 yesterday. And there's some pretty minimal fee increases. I don't think is gonna be a big problem, but I guess I'll share that information after we talk. I did forward it on to Corp Counsel and the county administrator. So I don't know how much we can discuss it, but we did receive one, and I think based on what I seen, it was, a few cents here, a few cents there for the square footage stuff, and then, a certain percentage, and then they kind of put on there what we would, and we historically have increased it by 10% for our purposes, so then we'd have fee increases too. So, I mean, I think it's, from what I could see of it, based on the short review of it, based on when we just got it, it's, nothing really stood out as being too substantial.
Well, at this point, I think we'll let staff review and then we'll visit it when staff is happy with it.
I met last week we've had the driveway issue in one of the townships, and I met there last week with the town and DOT. I think we got that one figured out as far as alleviating the town's concerns and actually the highway department's concerns. One part of it, I had an interesting conversation with a fire department individual, and, we've been talking about changing our slope requirements, and he basically said he would not go up the driveway that we were looking at, and that was right at, it met the less than 20% by like 0.2 or something, and so I don't know how we want to address that. I mean, I don't think, basically the fire marshal or fire recommendation is 1 in 20 feet, the way it sounded, which is a 5% slope. I mean, I don't know how we'd ever be able to build a 5% slope driveway in this county.
It would make some places unbuildable for sure.
Right. And, so, I mean, we can have that discussion if we want to change it, but I don't know if I would change it too drastically, we've never had any concerns brought to us other than that one individual that did state what it states, and I've never heard of anybody not being able to. I'm glad it hasn't happened, but I guess nothing's ever been brought up. And I did email them all, and the only one I talked to was actually the individual, and he happened to be there for some other, the town had him there, just kind of put him on the spot and asked him if they'd drive up it, and he said no, he wouldn't. But they would stage below and bring stuff up there, or haul stuff up there. That's pretty much it I mean, there's some stuff I see the BOA is on the agenda, so I'll talk about that then, but 'tis the season for permits, and complaints, I guess. It's starting up in pretty good order already, so.
Okay, 'tis the season, like you said. All right, anything else?
No, I think that's it.
Okay. Well, thank you, Mark. Conservation update from Haley.
Yeah, hi everyone. Just a quick update from the conservation side is tree and shrub was 2 weeks ago. Pickup went really well overall. We sold over 16,000 trees this year. So it was a lot of manual labor for our 2 days that we were trying to package and, get all the trees out, which is really helpful when we had, all of our staff and the 2 marks at the park helping out as well. So it was really good. We've gotten a lot of really great feedback. Customers have been emailing me saying that they really enjoyed the tree sale, and this is some of the best products they've gotten, even from, like, warning! Even from, like, private industry, they were excited to see what we had. So, which is really exciting to hear, and it, makes us feel good.
That's good to hear.
Yes. Then that leads into land judging is next week. So we go from tree and shrub to land judging. So May 10th, next Friday, is our 46th annual land judging contest. It'll be held with 5 schools participating this year throughout different schools in Trempealeau County. The location is in the surrounding Whitehall area. I cannot disclose where exactly it is at this exact moment because we want to make sure that it is kept a secret until the kids are actually out there so they can have a fair share when they're out there. And we're really excited for that. And we are always looking for, volunteers. So if you guys have any available time, we'll be out there on Friday, 8:30 to about 12:30, depends on how it runs. So we do have a good handful of volunteers, but we're always looking for a couple more. Then now that it is May, our WAVE, or the Water Action Volunteer Sampling, is starting up. So that'll run May through October. That is where we go to 4 different streams with 7 different locations, and we sample for velocity, temperature, dissolved oxygen, pH, clarity, and then we also look at the microinvertebrates in May and October. And each month we do sample for total phosphorus in those streams. That data is all submitted to DNR and analyzed through them, along with UW Extension out of Madison. So we volunteer with them to do all of that, and we always look for volunteers too to actually do that sampling too. So that's starting up, and it's always great to get out in the streams and see what's happening. And then the last thing I have right now is I just received an email last week, and I believe most of you probably did as well. Kevin, I think I just forwarded the email yesterday about the Western Area Land and Water Conservation Association meeting, which is June 18th. It's a very long-winded title there. And that is going to be in Sparta. I did forward the email to all of ELU, so I will be there. It is encouraged that at least 1 staff and 1 committee member do attend, because it looks like, and I haven't attended one of these, so I can't say specifically all of the details, so I was going to reach out to the chair and see what was all needed for that, because it looks like we do have to appoint for each county, a representative from the Land Conservation Department and 1 for the Land Conservation Committee. So I'll reach out more, I'll bring more information to the June meeting, but maybe just think about it if anyone would potentially like to attend. We can carpool or drive separate. So just wanted to bring that to your attention as well. So that is all I have. We're rolling through all kinds of different things in our department, so.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Good. Item 12 is consideration for Board of Adjustment appointments. Need 2 positions. Mark?
Well, I reached out to Nancy Horton and Jim Schwartz. They're the ones that are coming up in June. Jim's had enough. He says somebody else can do it. And I haven't heard back from Nancy, but I mean, we have representatives in Unity, Ettrick, Gale, Preston, and Trempealeau. And Jim was James was in the town of Hale, so if we would like to get somebody, and townships that don't have somebody on, you know, that way we kind of try to have a uniform representation, but, and Jim and Nancy both have been on it for a very long time, so we probably should look at somehow acknowledging James's service to the Board of Adjustment in some way, shape, or form, because he's been on it forever, and he was, you know, pretty knowledgeable, and Nancy also. And I haven't really thought of any names specifically that I can think that would want to do it. I mean, we have the meetings at 1:30 in the afternoon. You know, we gotta have somebody that's willing to do that, and hopefully we never have to meet, because, you know, we try to discourage variances, because, you know, they're not something we like to do unless we really, really have to. And, but James has specifically said that somebody else can do it, so. And so if anybody knows anybody, like say the town of the town of Arcadia, like Sumner area, because we do want to spread it around, I guess. We don't want it all from one certain township, so. I'll try to pick my brain from a few names, but I don't know the ones that I've probably approached in the past were not interested.
Well, if you need some names, reach out to the committee members, maybe.
Just let me
We
know,
can
either,
help.
you know, I can call them and talk to them and tell them how it goes, you know, but we haven't had one in quite a while. And like I said, when someone comes to the window and talks with Verge or I, we say that's their right to do that, but we somewhat try to discourage it if there is another avenue to address it.
Sure. Okay. Thank you. So we'll revisit that in June then? That fair?
Yeah, they expire like June 24th, I believe, is
So
when they're.
hopefully by June we can install.
But we
it.
do have two alternates that could,
If need
you know,
be.
Randy's an alternate, and then
Okay,
an individual from the town of Preston is an alternate, so
okay.
we would still have a board, I think, if we
Have
push
to.
come to shove, but
Sure.
but it'd be ideal to have it filled
In June.
before they expire.
Okay, sounds good.
Quick
Can I
question.
speak?
Sorry.
Oh,
Very
go
good.
ahead, you go ahead.
I know you said the board hasn't met in a while. About how many times has it met in the last year or two?
I would say lately, it's maybe one or two a year at the most, you know, because, you know, variance, you know, there's a criteria that needs to be met, and it's kind of hard to meet it all. You know, the first one, it can't be self-created, and which they all pretty much are, you know, they're asking for something that they can't do, and that's self-created, if you really want to be picky about it. And then, you know, the ones that were granted were, like, say someone wanted to build a little bit closer to the road, and it was granted because they couldn't move closer to their sewer, there was a stream there, there's a cliff behind, and they couldn't go anywhere. But they could have denied and says, well, you don't need another detached garage, you know, but they granted it because of those reasons, you know. So we haven't had them at all frequently, one or two a year at the very most lately.
Okay. Sounds good. Where did you have comment?
Just because we have a new member here, I was just going to give a little history, or how the way it has worked in the past is the committee is kind of given recommendations to the county board chair, which would now be the administrator, and then they have to make the appointment. So we would want to come with our suggestions to the June meeting so that, you know, any appointments that need to be done would be in place by June 30th. And there, by state statute, there has to be a member, none of the members can be from the same township. So that's the reason that they're so staggered around, and like Mark said, Jim was in Hale, so if he's getting off, we wouldn't have a representative from Hale and so forth, but anyway, that's just a little bit of the history.
Okay. That is helpful too, so. All right, thank you. Item 13, future agenda items. Is there anything that anyone would like to see on an agenda moving forward?
Yes, maybe a couple items, but let's see if this is the area to put it up on. So the first one is, I know we talked about the highway department looking at that Pine Creek issue. I don't know if that's something that we need to look at also, I know John was gonna get back with me on a meeting for them, but it's, when it comes to the water through there, they sent me some videos, and it's just amazing how much water is going in those homes. So I don't know if that's something that we should look at to start something going, or what we need to do on that.
I'm not really aware of what he's talking about.
So-
I mean, I may have briefly heard something about it, but I guess I haven't been involved in any.
Yeah, I'm not sure exactly how, I mean, so Andy brought it to me, I think, last month. We
Yes.
talked briefly about it.
So what was going on is that county road going through Pine Creek there,
Right.
they had, the plans at that time were to put curb and gutter
Okay.
all the way down both sides. Well, so what happened is they got it on the one side where the church is at. On the other side, they only went up a quarter of the way up to some gentleman's home, and at that point they stopped. The first plan was to do it all the way up. Then they came back, did a re-engineering of it, and said something about a culvert at the bottom of the road can't handle all the water. So then they put an abrupt stop to it. This is my information that I got. Put an abrupt stop to it and said, okay, we can only go this far with the curb and gutter, because otherwise the water, they can't handle the water, the culvert can't. So they stopped it. Well, being that said, they did that whole road 3-4 years ago. I don't know how many years it was, but it's been a little while. That now all the water that's coming down that road is going into like the first 5 or 6 or 7 homes on that one side. And I tell you, I can bring the videos of just the water that goes into those homes. They actually, when they're building their driveways, they're pitching them down at a home, down from their house and down from the road, so the water goes there instead of into their house, is how bad the water is. And one of the homeowners there, there are a lot of them there, but I've been speaking to one of them, he's concerned of why they stopped it, knowing that there was a water issue, and that's the whole reason they wanted to put curb and gutter going all the way up. And anyway, it was stopped, and now they have a major water issue. And he wants something addressed or something done about it, so the water don't go in the homes.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds like obviously they should have discontinued the culvert. I mean, the water's gonna be going down that way anyways, and then maybe put a bigger culvert in, but honestly, I don't know what we can do as a department, but we could certainly hear it, I mean, but sounds like it was a engineering failure or whatever, when I was in the conservation world, like a waterway or diversion, the exit has to be somewhere stable, you can't just stop it and then have problems for people downstream. So I don't know what the highway, I could talk to Kevin Rongstead or somebody at the highway department and ask them what they're planning on doing about it, but it sounds like they obviously should have continued the curb and gutter and then increase the capacity of the final outlet, I guess is what I would say, would be my 2 cents on it.
Yeah, just with the information I got, I felt the same way. There could be more information out there, but this is just the
Well, I mean, it
information I got.
sounds it sounds ridiculous of what they would have done. I mean, it seems like, engineering doesn't mean they're geniuses in some cases, but I mean, it sounds like they did everything wrong to end what they did. I mean,
Right,
it doesn't
especially when it
seem-
was first set up
doesn't
to
seem
where they
right.
can do curb and gutter all the way down, so. If
Well,
we could,
let Susan,
So not knowing the details, it sounds like perhaps the highway department did the work, and so it might be a matter to bring to the highway
Right.
committee. And so I would refer it to that committee.
Andy, have you had any conversations with the highway department?
and basically, again, a little bit of conversation. It's more pushing it on, you have 2 neighbors that are fighting. And that's where I got out of, these 2 neighbors are fighting, so, we just let it go. But I just don't, looking at the videos that I have, it's gotta be addressed. I mean, I'm telling you, there's water that piles in these homes. You can see the videos when it's raining, it's just pouring down into these houses.
we'll.
Yep,
we'll move
landowners
that
reached
a
out to me.
highway issue, I think, yeah.
So,
We'll work on that in the highway.
But
Okay.
they're, really just talking about curbs, because there's no gutter system in Pine Creek. There's no municipal water system. So it's just
Just
curb,
surface
not
drainage.
gutter.
yeah, curb, that works. Like I said, you'd see it, it's
Yeah,
only so far up on one side, and everything else is
Yeah.
open, so.
Okay,
Okay, will we do that?
yep. Any other, another comment?
Yeah,
or
one more
topic?
comment. I had of my district, in my district, a customer came to me and we probably need to address some kind of, food truck issue when it comes to these food trucks driving around and just parking next to businesses that have this like products they sell. So, because these businesses they pay their taxes, they do a lot of, where these food trucks can just move in, park right next to them and say, guess what, I'm selling ice cream, even I don't care if you're selling ice cream too. I'll underbid you, it doesn't matter, I'm in a food truck. So I think there's something that we should probably look at, we have some concerns on that too, in my district, so. And I think it's a legit concern, so that's my opinion on it.
Mark?
Yeah, I mean, Andy had brought this to my attention a couple weeks ago, and I guess we can discuss it more as an agenda item, but I did reach out, to the surrounding county, or the whole state, we got a Google group thing, and majority of them said if it's a licensed vehicle, it's not a zoning thing, but I did talk to the health inspector, and, he just brought up that, they gotta be, well, obviously they gotta have permission to be where they're gonna be. And the setback was like 200 feet or something like that. And I did look up, like the city of Eau Claire was 200 feet, but they're talking about on a public street,
Right.
that's what they're talking about. So, I mean, it's kind of an item that we may or may not be able to do anything with, because like I said, it's a licensed vehicle. But I can understand his concern, I guess. I don't know how much we want to prevent people from doing things like that, but I guess it's not fair to the people that they're affecting either, so.
Things like that should come through the community itself, and they can put things in place to, requirements and things at least.
Okay.
Okay. Anything else for future agenda items?
We'll bring that transfer density thing back to the meeting and get that resolved in
Okay.
some way, shape, or fashion. And I'm not aware of any conditional uses or rezones
Right
coming
now?
up at the June meeting,
Sure.
but the deadline might be either this week or next week, so some people wait till the last,
Minute, sure.
but I can't think of anything else, I guess.
Well, the other thing I had on my mind to get an update for the committee is, just to work with land records and see if we can get update on the solar farms, what's leased, what is not leased. I haven't seen it for a couple of years now.
Yeah,
I'm more
we've been getting a
curious
few
than
questions
anything.
on that, and, the extraterritorial zoning, that's been the topic the last month or two. Some cities have been asking about that, and I mean, I've heard rumors of where these things are going, but nothing official, I guess.
Right. Oh, that's what I figured. We can get the land, what is actively leased in the county?
Right, I mean, that's
And
something we could,
Just an informational thing.
land records could
probably
somehow
not
map
gonna-
it out to show, because there are, it's on their deeds, it's,
Right, yep.
yeah.
So that's something would be probably good to hear. Anything else on future agenda items? Hearing nothing. Next meeting date right now is scheduled for Wednesday, June 5th. We typically have been first Wednesday of the month. Does that still work for Kevin? You're the new guy, so everybody else still good with this? We'll stick with the same meeting, I believe. Stick with 8:30 on the 5th. And with that, I will adjourn the meeting.